Hey everybody, the Modern Native here. Just wanted to share with you guys my laundry tip. So, I got a dingy shirt in here that needs to be washed. I was messing around with the fire with it and got a bunch of ash on my sleeve, and just being out in the woods, stuff gets dirty. So when you gotta do laundry at camp, the Dr. Squatch soap is the eco soap I told you about in my other hygiene video, and it's I call it an eco soap. It's a green soap. There's no harsh chemicals. It's totally natural. It's cold pressed. So it's totally safe to use out while you're camping. Like I said before, I can jump in the creek and I can wash up. I can do laundry right here by the creek. I got a suggestion from one of my top supporters that I should mention about wastewater. When I was doing dishes, I was just cleaning it up and dropping it right here, but that's only because it was just a little bit of schmutz inside the pan, so it wasn't a big deal. If you have anything that's wastewater, toxic water, that's going to affect the environment, you have to be mindful of where you're dumping that, and you always dump that away from your water source. That's why here I made sure when I was doing that, even though it was okay and it wasn't a big deal because it was just a little bit of food residue, it flows down into the wood dam I showed you where it's got sand and everything all built in, so it acts like a natural filter. So I wasn't too concerned. With this, I don't have any chemicals on my laundry. I haven't used like chemical laundry soap in months. And all I do is I do natural cleaning now. I use the Dr. Squatch soap, and there's no impact on the environment because it's just nature on my clothes that I'm washing off. So it's not a big deal. I'm using a bucket right now just to do this quick. And just showing you the one shirt. It's rainy, kind of crappy out today, so I wasn't going to do a whole lot. But I just put it through its rinse cycle, and I just pick it up. You don't need a whole lot of soap because this will spread out in the water. You see, I do it pretty much just on one spot, so that way it's not too much everywhere. Then you just rub it together. This shirt is off-white and it's old, so it's got a lot of stains on it. I've worn it out working on farms. I've worn it out working in the woods, playing in the woods, living in the woods. There's a wear and tear on clothes, and can't always get it back to its original color all the time. But I just scrubbed it up some, scrub it on itself. Sometimes we use the wife's kayak. It's an ocean kayak, and see, I dump it on the sand here so it flows through and filters out before it gets to the water, even though it is still natural. Get a fresh rinse bucket. The wife's kayak is an ocean kayak, so it's one of those just molded out, totally sealed. So what we'll do is we'll bring it into the creek a little bit, bring a bucket, fill the seat with water, and do the laundry, and then dump it out and repeat the process, so that way it's, we can stand in the creek up to waist water when it is that high and do laundry comfortably instead of squatting down by the creek. So if you do have something that floats but will still hold water, that's one little tip you can do. I think it needs one more rinse. It was pretty dingy there. Crawling around, hanging out with the dog, getting ash all over me, messing with the fire. Snap, crackle, pop. and it's dark, but it's clean. Smells good. When this dries, it'll lighten up. But that is my start of hygiene part 3, doing laundry at camp. Next, I will show you bathroom time in the woods, my solutions. Stay tuned. So now I'm gonna show you guys the bathroom latrine. You can see that the saplings are all thick over there and over here, and I got my tarp stretched out between the trees in like a half a plow kind of formation, with the one side up a little more just for breeze, so that way when you're under here you're not dealing with the mosquitoes too bad. And I dug a really deep, longer trench, so that way this can be, the stool can be repositioned or whatever if it needs to be. But this will last for quite a while. Nice long, deep latrine. And all I did is I cut some Y branches and I pounded them into the ground. This one's split, and I had to put a frapping on it, or whipping, frapping, I can't remember what that's called. But I just had to wrap it around there for a bit to keep it from splitting. But it held my weight, held the wife's weight, and other than that bit holding that stick together, there's no twine used. I just overlapped them, and there you go. So it's a nice sitting spot, and there's coverage all the way around, so you can have bathroom time in the woods without having to worry, and have a little privacy but still feeling like you're in the open. Personally, I like pooping out in the open, but that's just me. Anyway, as I said before about wastewater, obviously you want to set this up away from the water source. I think it's, can't ever remember if it's 50 feet, 150 feet, or 50 yards, which 50 yards is 150 feet. So I pretty much do it about 50 paces or so from camp, from the trail, and from the water. It's like right in between there. It's a nice safe distance, and so I go deep enough so all the wastewater and everything drains out nice, and it's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to smell. It's not going to attract animals. But as my top supporter, one of my top supporters there, Pat, he mentioned that I should remind you guys. I said it in passing in my previous video that to not, if it's actual wastewater, toxic water, things like that, you shouldn't have it. You shouldn't be putting it or dumping it anywhere near your water source. So, and it should definitely just be mindful of where you are dumping what and when you're doing that, because runoff and flow and stuff like that is a thing, and contaminating water sources is just bad for you, bad for the animals, and bad for anything downstream. So just be mindful of that, and until next time, get out there, be a native, and go beast.